Why do they call it Christmas? This post office is about a half hour east of Orlando, and it's as frantic as a workshop full of elves as the holiday shipping deadline arrives. It's where the spirit of the season lives all year long, where letters to Santa are always accepted, and the wreath stays up even in summertime. Hundreds of people make a pilgrimage here to have their precious holiday parcels postmarked Christmas, Florida.
They'll drive hundreds of miles, drop off their Christmas cards, get the Christmas postmark. We have a lot of people that will mail their Christmas cards to us requesting the Christmas postmark.
Okay. This was for you.
Postmaster Suzanne Young carries on a tradition handed on to her by postmasters dating back decades.
We love to be busy, and it is very busy, but it's a special time of year. It's just a unique situation.
Today, the town is barely a dot on the map. It wasn't even that, just pine forest, when the U.S. Army was waging a war to drive the Seminole Indians out of Florida.
A group of soldiers led by General Abraham Eustis, there's a city in Florida named for him, stopped here to build a fort. That fort's recreated behind me. It was Christmas Day, 1837, so they called it Fort Christmas.
The fort was only used for 3 months, but the Noel-inspired name stuck around. When the U.S. government approved a post office for the area, Fort was dropped, and Christmas, Florida began its jolly existence. Why do they call it that? Now you know. Why do they call it Plant City? It is not because of all the plants here. I know, crazy, but hear me out. Plant City's original name was connected to crops, but your jaw could come unhinged just saying it.
The previous name was Ikapakasasa.
That's Rodney Kite Powell. He's the curator of history at the Tampa Bay History Center, and he's had some practice with Ikapakasasa. You can imagine settlers found the old Indian name, which means tobacco field, something of a mouthful. For that very reason, an Irish postmaster changed the town's name from Ikapakasasa to Cork. But then the first train rolled in on a railroad line owned by Henry Plant.
And it's named for Henry Plant, who brought the railroad to this part of Florida in the 1880s.
Agriculture in Plant City does go back a long way. This Plant City display at the Tampa Bay History Center is based on an old fruit packing label, for example. But the name on these signs came from the name of this guy.
People do think it's for the plants themselves, strawberries and things like that, but it really is for Henry Plant.
Why do they call it Weeki Wachee Springs? Here is an Indian name that has stuck around, probably because, face it, it's fun to say. This tourist attraction is known for its mermaids, women who slip on false fins and put on a show. Who would come up with an idea like that? Well, Newt Perry, a man who taught Navy divers and was looking for something to do after World War II. Who would come up with a name like Weeki Wachee? The Seminole Indians. In the Creek language, Weekiwa means spring, and Chi means little. Why do they call it that? Now you know. Why do they call it the Leroy Selman Expressway? Well, let's ask Leroy Selman.
A radio station, 970 WFLA.
The radio hosts were chatting about how to honor Selman, who'd just become the first Tampa Bay Buccaneer to enter the Pro Football Hall of Fame.
And they just said, well, we should name an expressway after him. We should change the name of the crosstown to the Selman Expressway. And you know that, I was surprised at how that just kind of caught on.
By 1999, it was official. The announcement caught Selman off guard, partly because he was still alive. I
understood that most times these things are done when you're passed on. So I asked him, do you know something that I don't know? Because if you do, especially about that, please let me know.
The Expressway Authority does keep him posted on what's happening with his highway, but they do not cut him a check.
Do you get any of the toll that comes on it? No, I don't get any of the toll that comes on it. My worst fear is getting a ticket on the Selman Expressway.
After retiring from the Bucks, Selman served as USF's athletic director and founded his own chain of restaurants. Among all these honors, Selman says the Expressway is truly unique and special.
To me, it reflects the love that the community has and the relationship that I've enjoyed with the community ever since I got here in 1976.
Why do they call it Mulberry? This Polk County city started off so small it didn't even have a railroad station. So conductors had instructions to drop off cargo, even people, at a mulberry tree alongside the tracks here. The city of Mulberry survived and grew here. That mulberry tree also grew, but died, as trees do. This new tree was planted in the same spot as the original, so folks could come and sit in the shade of their city's namesake. Why do they call it that? Now you know.